African dance fundamental. Protect your hips and knees. Our knee is a hinge joint, but it's on this angle, this rotating angle. And our hip is a ball joint, and our ankle is a ball joint. So the hip and ankle need to move properly to protect the knee. The foot is designed to be this very domed platform that then keeps the integrity of the knee joint. It helps give a platform so that the ball joint of the ankle can move. So first, let's get rid of some of the ways. Let's edit out some bad habits that mess with our hip and knee integrity, which then end up being foot things, right? So in a context of African dance, while it's not a bad thing necessarily to have your feet pointed out, if we do it too much, it's a sign that I'm tight back here. If they move too wide and are too pointed out and my hips start coming forward, it means I'm overstretching my abs. I'm putting stress in the front of my hip joint, and I'm also collapsing my arches. So the first thing is watch how your teachers occasionally, when they dance, bring their feet all the way together. I notice that my tendency is to keep everything wide from like doing aerobics and other Zumba and other things. So notice within the dance, oftentimes the feet come all the way together. You might be kind of missing a chance to get all the way back on your support. The second is our hips are not out here. Our hips, the place that the bone is making contact, the bones are making contact, is way in here. So the best support with our feet straight would be somewhere closer to here, about 1 fist apart. So I'm not saying get weird about this, but start, so that's one, is get your support underneath you. Second is when you push off of a foot, don't leave it behind. Don't leave your weight back there to buckle the knee or buckle the arch of the foot to collapse it. So when I'm going from one foot to the other, I'm going to really use that foot to push and turn to help me move from the past to the future. What I find in myself and other people, like in yoga, I trained this sort of the back foot pointing out and the hips somewhat square. This is a no, do not train this. Hips square and back foot turned out. No, do not. If I'm going to train static postures, my hips would be at an angle, and I would feel that my inside heel is light. So that's another thing to edit out. Edit out squared up lunge type or warrior type of things with the back heel down at an angle. That just doesn't. Now, how could we modify that? We could train that back foot to actively turn our weight towards the front foot. The beautiful thing about African dance is we have so much of this where our knee is already turning, our foot is already turning to move our weight. But I guess I'm talking about rookie mistakes like I used to make, where most of me is going, but part of me is stuck behind here. And that's setting me up for a future ACL tear or an Achilles tear. So one place this shows up in our everyday life is when we're getting in a car. Like I open the door and I'm getting in, and then I do this collapsing arch thing as I'm getting in the car instead of I'm pushing through that foot. Same thing even when I find if I'm getting in a weird tight, in some restaurant or something, I'm getting into a tight spot and I start to scooch myself over. Sometimes I'll just like that foot and knee will get stuck and the arch will get trapped versus this active, this pushing me. The past is pushing me towards my future. The push turns the knee in a little bit and my heel lifts off the ground. What I see is, like let's say if I was doing a dance step like this, let's just say I was doing just something like that. Now my hips are at an angle. and I'm keeping the heel light so I can do this little bouncy thing. My hips are not flat. I see people kind of flattening things, and then their arches sort of collapse. Versus my hips are on an angle, and I keep this springiness where my heels can tap. So I guess that's, gosh, this is long. Number one was support ourselves. Use true support. Use bony support when you can. Feet straight when you can to train our new old way. Second, when I'm transferring weight from one foot to the other, use the foot to help. Use the knee, the spinning of the knee to help. Part of training this could be, instead of doing flattening sort of Virabhadrasana things with the heel down, you can instead do springy versions of the same thing, where that turning of the hip and the foot and the knee help train me to change rate. Part of this too is picking movements and dances where there's this natural turning of things from one side to the other. An example, one more example of this movement. Someone had once said, don't do this, this is dangerous. Yeah, do not do this move in African dance unless your heel's light. Then do it like crazy. Because you'll notice, if my heel is light and my ankle stays, inside ankle bone stays up, this is very supported. Boom, boom. Versus mashing into my knee. Okay, and finally, I'll just say this is the last one. Third main point. Cherish and protect the front of your hip joint. What this means is you do not kick straight back. If my hips are square, you do not kick straight back. If you kick back, you turn with squared hips, you turn the knee in if I'm going to kick the leg back with square hips, or you angle the hips, or you angle the spine to send that work through more of your body. If we insist and bang, yikes, that is gonna rip my hips. Similarly, doing end range splits, that we would let our hips open on this diagonal, and that's going to create more health, and my back leg will turn in as I get down into the split. I remember trying to force with blocks. I'm gonna have square hips, and then and I think I was even splatting my back knee like this. Whoa, that was just damaging. That was so stupid. So, know better, do better, Deb. So I could do some kind of split with my hips on the diagonal. I can also turn that back knee in as this front knee is turning out. I don't even need splits. Like, why would I practice those? Those aren't making me better at anything. I generally don't spend much time in end range movements because I'm hypermobile. I want to get better at all these springy, all these other spots, since that's the majority. The majority are healthy spots, guys. It's when we force something that things get crazy, like I used to do, right? I wanted to feel the stretch. No, we want to feel our power, our connection, our springs, our regeneration. Okay, so to protect your hips, generally, if the leg is going behind you, do not force it with squared hips. If you do, the knee has to really spiral in and the leg comes out at a diagonal. Safer, hips are on a diagonal. Even safer yet, the spine, my whole torso moves so that less is hitting. The most vulnerable part of this hip joint is in the front. Oh gosh, this knees open and doing back bend. No, that's fighting our design. Here's another. Maybe this is number 5. Is it number 5? Go in to go out. I used to just yank myself around. There's like some movement. I don't know if it's Senegalese or. I would just yank my hip out. And again, that's that flattening idea that's damaging to the hip. So I don't really want the knee to open very far out. I don't very far out to the side turned out. If it goes very high out to the side, it turns in. So what we'll start to see is it might be my whole hip girdle is bringing this knee. So my knee is facing forward. If my whole hip girdle comes in front, it looks like the knee is turning in. And then when it's coming out, it's got a healthy support. So going in with my, the collaboration of my hip joint and my knee in to go out, this really, boom, that's a whole different thing than yanking, flattening, and hyperextending my poor hip joints. Oh my God. All right. This is a lot. This is a lot. That's why I call it movement longevity. We have forever. We have forever to get this right. We've got 50 years at least to get better at moving, I hope, together. Movement longevity. There really is no other type of longevity, because when you stop moving, you're dead.